Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 7 of the Phonetic Flex, the show where we help you build stronger, clearer, and more confident English pronunciation. I'm your host, Britany.
And I'm Carlos. We're so glad you're joining us for another lesson. Today, we're continuing our exploration of ghost letters with a word that is, well, deceptively simple. It looks straightforward, but it has a hidden trap that catches so many learners.
It's a fantastic word that describes something that is not obvious, that is delicate or clever. We are talking about the word subtle.
Subtle, spelled S-U-B-T-L-E. When you look at that, every instinct tells you to pronounce that B in the middle, to say something like Sub-tle.
But that B is a ghost. It's completely silent. The correct pronunciation has only 2 syllables, and it sounds like this: subtle.
Subtle. It rhymes perfectly with the word shuttle, like a space shuttle. Let's break down that sound. The first syllable gets all the stress. Sut. This is a strong, clear part of the word.
Right. The energy is all on that first beat. It's not subtle, it's sut. The second syllable, tul, is unstressed. It's quick, soft, and at a lower pitch.
So what is going on with that silent B? Why is it there if we don't say it?
Well, part of it is simple mechanics of the mouth. The sound combination B followed by T is quite difficult and clunky for English speakers to produce quickly. Your mouth has to close your lips for the B, then move your tongue to the top of your mouth for the T. Over time, for ease of speech, people just stopped pronouncing the B and went straight for the T sound.
It's linguistic efficiency in action. But the story of why the B is in the spelling from the first place is even more interesting. It's a story of academic meddling.
It is. The word subtle has a very noble origin. It comes from the Latin word subtilis.
And subtilis was a beautiful word. It meant finely woven, delicate, or precise. Sub means under, and tilis is related to tela, meaning web or cloth. So the image is of the finest, most delicate thread that runs under the main weave.
I love that imagery. Now, from Latin, the word traveled into Old French, where it became subtil. Notice that the B sound was already lost by the time it got to French.
And then English borrowed the French word, and for hundreds of years it was spelled and pronounced in English without a B. People wrote Sub-tle or subtle.
But then, during the Renaissance in the 16th and 17th centuries, scholars in England became obsessed with Latin origins. They looked at the English word Sub-tle and said, wait a minute, this comes from the great Latin word subtilis. We should put the B back in the spelling to show its noble classical root.
And so they did. They changed the spelling to S-U-B-T-L-E. But by that point, the pronunciation without the B had been fixed in the language for centuries. No one was going to start saying Sub-tle just because some scholars changed the spelling.
Exactly. So the B was put back in as a silent historical marker. It was a purely academic change, and it gave us the ghost letter we have today.
It's such a great story. Okay, now that we know why we say subtle, let's build that muscle memory. It's time for practice reps.
Let's do it. We'll say the word and you repeat right after us. Subtle.
Subtle.
Again, breaking it down. Sut-tle.
Sut-tle.
Now, let's use it in some sentences. Repeat after us. There was a subtle change in her expression.
There was a subtle change in her expression.
The flavor of the dish was very subtle and delicious.
The flavor of the dish was very subtle and delicious.
Great job. Now, this whole topic of silent letters added for historical reasons leads us perfectly into our Listener Mailbag segment.
It does indeed. What's the question this week, Britany?
This question comes from Lucia in Italy. Lucia writes, "Hello. The story of subtle is amazing. It makes me wonder about other words with a silent B. I'm thinking of doubt and debt. Is it the same story?"
Lucia, that is an absolutely brilliant question. And the answer is yes, it is the exact same story. You found 2 more victims of the same academic meddling.
Let's start with doubt. Just like subtle, it came to English from French, where it was douter. Notice no B sound. And for hundreds of years, English speakers spelled and pronounced it as doubt.
But those same Renaissance scholars came along and said, hold on, the French dute comes from the Latin word dubitare, which has a B. So, to show off its Latin heritage, they inserted the B into the spelling of the English word.
But again, nobody changed how they spoke. The pronunciation remained doubt. The B became a silent ghost. Let's practice it. Repeat after us. I have no doubt you will succeed.
I have no doubt you will succeed.
Now let's look at your other word, debt. Can you guess the story, Carlos?
I think I can. It must have come from a French word without a B, like debt. English borrowed that. Then scholars linked it back to a Latin word with a B, like debitum, and they put the silent B into the spelling.
Exactly right. The pronunciation was always debt, but the spelling was changed to show its Latin roots. Let's practice that one. It's important to pay off your debt.
It's important to pay off your debt.
Now, it's worth noting that there's another common pattern for a silent B, which is a bit different. This happens when B comes after an M at the end of a word.
Right. This is less about academic history and more about the physics of speaking. The M and B sounds are both made by closing your lips. It's much easier to just end on the M sound and not release the B. Think of thumb.
You don't say thumb, just thumb. It's the same for comb, bomb, climb, and numb. If you see an MB at the end of a word, that B is a ghost.
Let's practice one of those. I need to comb my hair.
I need to comb my hair.
So, Lucia, you are right. The stories of doubt and debt are exactly the same as subtle. Great ear for noticing that pattern. Thank you for the question.
Yes, thank you, Lucia. Okay, let's bring it all back home to our word of the day, subtle, for one final practice round.
Let's do it. Repeat after us. He made a subtle gesture to get my attention.
He made a subtle gesture to get my attention.
The difference between the two paintings is subtle but important.
The difference between the two paintings is subtle but important.
Excellent work, everyone. Time for our final recap.
Let's do it. The 3 keys to pronouncing subtle. Key number 1. The pronunciation is subtle. 2 syllables with the stress on the first. It rhymes with shuttle.
Key number 2, the B is a silent ghost letter. It's there in the spelling, but you absolutely do not pronounce it.
And key number 3, remember the history. The B was added back into the spelling by scholars to show its Latin origin, subtilis, long after the sound had already disappeared from the spoken language.
That's everything you need to know to master this wonderfully subtle word. And that's a wrap on this episode of the Phonetic Flex. Keep practicing.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time for another session. Goodbye.